What I hear a lot from galactics is this: which way are you looking at your life? Is everything happening to you? Or are you looking at your life like this is a big mystery and I can't wait to solve it? I'm going to come out on
Yeah.
top. And those are two very different ways of looking at
Yeah.
the challenges that we face, because we can't avoid them, but
Right.
we can't let them get us low.
Right. And we're also in a place where we hold privilege that we can do this. So it's a nice opportunity if we're in a space where we hold privilege to be able to make these choices. It's not saying that like people who are suffering under, war or genocide, or they're doing something wrong, or they're bad people and that's why it's happening to them, or anything like that. I mean, having that knowledge that we're coming from a space where we get the opportunity to like play around with the energies because that's what we chose in this lifetime.
I really like that perspective.
If we think of it multidimensionally, it's like we've chosen different experiences before and maybe simultaneously as well. So this is just the one that we're in this moment.
Right. Next time, if you want an easier life, you can always choose it. But remember that, we chose this life. We chose all these hard things, and there is a reason for it. And so we should find out what that is. And that's where you find the biggest growth and the most incredible things.
And everybody has such an important role to play. There's no like, oh, that guy's a reptilian, he's bad. We really have to learn to come back to that like deep understanding of oneness and compassion, and understand that everybody's role is important. Every single person, no matter what their choices are, no matter how much we understand them.
Yeah, we live in duality, and we're trying to find the better place, but we won't be able to find it if we don't see the duality of it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about moon magic. I know anyone who's been listening to my podcast, I talk about this a lot, but we did want to check back in about it.
Yeah.
That's a 4D construct, the moon is doing this, the moon is doing that. I love repeating numbers, and I like the time repeating numbers. And I do like to work in portals, the 11th of the 11th.
Sure.
But I'm not going to construct my life around astrological events.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's what it comes back to, is the sovereignty. Like the number one thing. There's lots of things that we can tap into about the moon, whether it's real or not, whether it's nefarious or not, all of these different things, whether we have ever been on it or not, and how, in what capacity, and so forth. But all of that is secondary to the sovereignty around it. You can watch people, be controlled by all of this as if it's like an addiction. And, you don't have to wait for a certain time, to your point, to create. Like we're always creating. We are always able to start over again. We're always able to release. Like these are not things that we can't do without the moon. Like,
right.
We're fine. We're good. We're the highest technology, is what I always say. Like there's nothing more powerful than, our I am presence within our human form.
Yeah, our sovereignty.
Our sovereignty. So, I think that's the red flag around it, is like this, it's like a release of our own power.
Right. Like I need the moon to manifest, but I don't want to manifest with whatever's on that moon, because it's not all good. So how can you separate that? I don't.
Right. Well, I don't know that everyone believes
that.
Right. Not everybody believes that there's something nefarious. I mean, whenever I tap in, I feel like it's not all good. Like you were saying, it probably was at one point when all of this got started back in the day.
Well, I think we always had a moon. It was destroyed, and now we have a satellite that keeps our planet from being a water planet. So it's important, but
it's pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to use it for magic.
Right. And I feel like, I don't really use the word magic very much anymore. So all these are all feel like 4D constructs to me, like even, and I love to play around in astrology, human design.
It's so fascinating.
Like yoga, and I've been a yoga teacher for 20 years. I'm, even Reiki. I mean, but what I always think about is these are set practices that have been passed down, usually from men, not always, but often. Just side note, maybe relevant, maybe not, that tell you if you don't do it this way, it's not going to work.
Right.
And that's a problem for me. Like,
well, anything that tells you how it is a programming in itself.
Yeah.
Because you can make anything that you want to happen. You can manifest anything you like.
Right. It limits us and it controls us in a lot of ways. And it diminishes us. Like, right. It takes away. And then yet, some of these practices, if you're experiencing them within sovereignty, it can be so amazing and so beautiful.
Well,
Um,
Reiki is a
like
beautiful
Reiki,
practice,
Reiki
obviously.
is
Yeah.
wonderful, but like, if I don't do it exactly like it says in the book, is it going to be
Well, if you really
wrong?
study Reiki, I mean, they all did it differently. All the grandmasters did it
Right.
differently. So you can do it
True.
any way you want. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a certain way. The way I teach it is here's the certain way, practice it, and then do it however you want. Here's how I do it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, me too. And I think that's kind of the key. So it's not saying like we have to discard all these things or deny them or judge them or push them away or label them. Even though I know we're using labels, it's really just for like getting the concepts across. Like it really doesn't matter. Once you
Right.
kind of like are free of it, it doesn't matter where you are. But in the meantime, we need to experience them too to like learn the basic constructs, right? The basic constructs Reiki gives you like those building blocks of like this is a structured way of how you can work with energy that's safe.
That's
um
right. And
you
it
know
helps you then bring forth your own sovereign healing technique that you brought into this life because now
right,
you know how to wield an energy